Welcome to this week's edition of Money Matters. What we're going to be doing this week is show you exactly how an 11-year-old can buy a £35,000 house over here and get it revalued at £60,000. So here we are in Goldthorpe, which is not very far from Doncaster. And what do you think of the street?
Looks good.
Looks good. So first thing we're looking for when we look around is we want to see how old the cars are. Because if people are parking nice cars in the street is okay. I would say 50% of the cars are younger than 10-year-old and about 25% of the street are younger than 5-year-old. So that's okay. It's a dead-end street, so it's a fantastic place for children to play. And if we look up some of these side streets, we've got much bigger houses over there, and any area that's just this close to big houses, and we're also, what's that, about 200-300 metres to the high street. Were there many empty shops in the high street?
No.
And here's the house behind us. Now it's a 2 up, 2 down. So one of the things we're going to need to do is try and get far enough away from it to try and see the roof, because we need to know what the roof's like. And it's that one there, so we want to know why the door's boarded up, don't we?
Yeah.
It's on for £39,995, so £40,000. And you made an offer, and the agent is hopefully going to tell us whether that offer is accepted today. Okay, so what do you think of it so far, Judy?
It's okay.
It's quite big, isn't it, for a 2-bed?
Yeah.
This is a big bedroom. There's some bits and pieces, like that double glazed unit is cracked. How much do you think it's going to cost to change that window?
200?
I think it's going to be more like 100, but it's certainly not going to be thousands. There's maybe £100, depending on who we put in here and how you do it. I don't think it's going to cost a lot of money. So here we are in the back bedroom, and it's only a little 2-bedroom house. What do we see on the roof next door?
An extension.
Then on the back, as is quite often the case with these houses, they put a bathroom. Because do you know where the bathroom and the toilet used to be?
No.
The toilet would have been outside. It's over there, so we can see it out the window in a minute. So people tended to, there's a flat roof extension on the back, so that's been built on the back so that they can bring the bathroom inside. So you look a bit surprised. How do you like to live in a house with a toilet in the garden? Not so much.
And here.
Yeah, it's an ideal boiler, and it's a combi boiler. So that means you don't need a water tank. It's actually quite new. In a property like this, that's quite important, because that could be a big part of your repair bill. If you look at the bottom of the garden over there, see those 2 little rooms at the bottom of the garden, or 2 little shed bits?
Yeah.
One of those would have been the outside toilet. So the back garden's totally overgrown, but it's so small. That's a skip and a few minutes work, not a few minutes, a few hours work, and it's nice and tidy. See those houses over there, just behind you?
Yeah.
They might be 10 years old, but I don't think they're as old as that. So when you see houses like that, this close to the properties we're looking at, that gives me a degree of confidence. One of the things we know when we talk about properties, Jude, is we need to look up as well as look inside the side, don't we? So if we look up next door, what can we see? So that's the one you're interested in.
Yeah.
And the one next door, what's it got on the roof?
An extension.
And how many beds did the agent say the one next door is?
4 bedroom.
4 bed. So what Mum's been doing while we've been looking at this, she's been going up and down the street. She's been taking pictures of all the for sale boards. She's been taking pictures of there's 2 that are for rent. And what's she going to do with that information?
Compare the prices.
Compare the prices. If we look along the top, do you know what the top of the roof is called? That's called the ridge. So you see those tiles on the top? Those are ridge tiles. And that ridge looks pretty straight to me. So there's no issue with the ridge. As we come down the roof, that's a slate roof. You know the difference between slates and tiles? Slates are thin, tiles are much thicker, so that's an old slate roof. You can see there's a few tiles popped there. Now, I know what that is. Between the 2 houses, there's going to be a brick wall in the loft. And what that means is that some of the joists, some of the timber supports for the roof have moved a little bit. Looks fine to me. I mean, I don't think it's an issue at all. But we'll just get the surveyor to check that out, because that's the sort of thing that might need to be fixed. You would probably tile it, not slate it, because it would be cheaper. A roof that size, you're probably talking £2,500, something like that. But I don't think it needs doing, and I didn't see any signs of water coming in when I was on the inside. So I'd be amazed if anything needs being doing to the roof, to be honest. Do you have £35,000 in the bank?
No.
Oh, damn. So what are you going to do if the agent says, okay, your offer's accepted?
I'm going to borrow.
You are going to suggest to somebody that they lend you the money. Why would somebody lend you 35? Well, it's going to cost, assuming they accept the offer, it's going to cost 35,000 to buy it. How much do we think it's going to cost to do it up on the inside? Total?
2,500.
2,500 is about right. So 35 to buy it, 2.5 to do it up, and we're going to need about £500 for legal fees and stuff. So for anybody that's listening out there, Jude knows this stuff, but there's no stamp duty because it's less than £40,000. So the stamp duty is zero. Many people think, oh, you know, to buy a house it's thousands and thousands of pounds. Well, it can be, but if it's under £40,000 like this one, it's literally just the legal bill, £400-500. That's about 38 grand. Why would somebody lend you £38,000 to do this?
So I could give something back to them when they would need it.
You could give something back to them. So if we look at the numbers on this one, the critical number is what's it going to be worth at the end? What do you reckon it's going to be worth?
60.
60. So it's probably going to be worth around 60,000. The last one we bought like this actually revalued at 65. You can then put a mortgage on it, and 75% mortgage off 60 is 45, which means you can pull out £7,000 more than you put in. So if somebody lends you £40,000, do you think you could find them one like this and help them do the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just very simple. It's called one for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. So in 3 or 4 months' time, they've got their money back. And then 3 or 4 months after that, they've got a house, essentially for free, with an extra £6,000-7,000 back. Does that sound like a good deal to you?
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm going to have to teach you to do is, how do you pitch somebody? How do you make that proposal? Because you've never done that before, have you?
No.
No. But we thought it was really important when we made this film that it isn't just, because I've done this before. So it's not hard for me because I've done it before. Jude hasn't. So what we really didn't want to do is, we find him a property, we give him the money, and then all the money comes out, and then, oh, hooray. We could do that. So a really important part of this process for me is that I don't give Jude the money, even though I could. You might be thinking, you know, if I want to do this, where the hell do I start? Well, a fantastic place to start is an area you know. And I was actually brought up about 5 miles from here. So I'm actually very comfortable in this area because it's kind of like where I was brought up. So a knowledge of the area is essential. Second, what's the high street like? What's the schools like? Okay, it's not the prettiest, and some people do live, as you can see, in a bit of a rubbish tip. But rubbish can be moved. A skip costs a few £100. You know, 1 skip, maybe 2 skips, and a few hours work, and this will look completely different. Are there many empty houses in the street? No. Is there a good rental demand in the street? Yes. Next up, can we find a house that's got some sort of issues with it? Because if we can solve the problems for somebody, now the problem for this particular property is it's owned by a landlord, and that landlord lives a long way away. So they don't want to manage it. And as you've seen from the pictures at the front door needs to be replaced. There's been some sort of tenant issues at this property. So let me be straight with you, this isn't a simple property to start with, and you know, maybe if Jude was doing that, well, can you imagine an 11-year-old going into an estate agent on their own? So an 11-year-old can do this, but they're going to need some adult help. The front door's been kicked in and the landlord's already said they'll replace the front door. The back door is made of steel. It's a steel security door. Now you don't put that on a regular house. There's a security camera at the front and the back. So if you're going to buy a property like this, you need to know, why is there a steel security door and why is there a security camera at the front and back door? So there's been an issue with this property, but it's not an issue with the property per se, it's an issue with the tenant in this property. Where's the news? The tenant's not here anymore. They've gone. So I'm prepared to take a property like this, Jude's prepared to take a property like this, because there's value here. Especially when you see that next to that. That's a 2-bed, we'll get it for a 2-bed price. That's a 4-bed. So do your research, do the numbers. So if you know you can go and buy a property for 30, 40 grand, and when it's done up, 60 grand, but if you put a loft extension in, 70, 80 grand, look at all the value you're creating. Where do you need to start? I'll tell you exactly where you need to start. You need to start by reading Jude's book, because all of this is covered in Jude's book, and the book is called The Kids Property Investment Manual. So we haven't absolutely decided yet, you haven't absolutely decided yet, but one of the things you're thinking about is putting a tenant in there, putting someone in there to rent it that can buy it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because that'd be nice. It'd be pretty cool before you've even left school that you've provided a home for a family, wouldn't it? How about that? You were asked recently at school, what did you want to be when you grow up? What did you say? What did you put on your form?
Property investor?
A property investor. Why do you like the idea of being a property investor?
Because you're saying that if I do it young enough, and then before I can actually, I need to start working.
Yeah.
I won't need to work in my life, so I can just do more stuff in my life.
Do you ever have any lessons at school called How to Buy Houses for No Money?
No.
No. Do you ever have any lessons at school called How Not to Work Ever in Your Life?
No.
No. Do you think that would be a good lesson to have at school?
Yes.
Yeah. And it all starts here. This is your first one, hopefully. But we'll keep a little video log of what's going on, and we'll keep you up to date. And for me, I want to do this for Jude, and I know Jude wants to do this too. But for me, if anything that you see in this series inspires you to help your children buy houses so they never need to work, then that will please me. Hope this has been useful. So do you want to say goodbye to everyone, Jude?
Thank you for listening. I'm Jude. Bye.
If you've liked it, please literally like it, subscribe to the channel, get your friends to do the same. You've been wonderful. I've been Paul. See you next time. Bye-bye.